Blessings. I hope you guys are awesome tonight. Welcome to Wombs Wednesdays. Of course, you know, I am Ramona Riley, aka the Vagina Lady. And it's so awesome to be on again, as usual, on a Wednesday. I do apologize for starting late tonight, but we are still going to talk about all the amazing, wonderful things that I have in store. And I really want to do a lot of feedback and not just talking tonight, because for the past few weeks, 3 weeks, we've been talking a lot about sex and orgasms and foreplay and just all of that kind of sexual things. And so I wanted to round out tonight with talking about those things that we've spoken out before and asking questions, because after a while, when your mind starts working, you realize, oh my gosh, I wonder if that means this or that doesn't mean this, or how this could be, or whatever it is that it could be. So I want us to definitely talk a little bit about what we've spoken about in the last 3 weeks, but then also talk about some new things, because at the end of the day, if we're talking about sex, if we're talking about foreplay, if we're talking about all those things, we have to also talk about masturbation, right? Because if you in yourself can't please yourself and bring yourself to this orgasmic state, then how can you ever expect someone else to bring you to this orgasmic state? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, of course, as usual, as we do all the time on a Womb Wednesday, we are going to pray first, and then we are going to get started. So everybody, if you want to bow your heads, do whatever you would do for usual prayer, and we can move on. Dear God, myself and everyone on this live, we come to you right now just grateful, always thankful for all you do, the unconditional love that's bestowed upon us on a minute basis, hourly basis. We ask you now to just bring awareness to our minds and to our hearts. Bring peace and love. We know this world needs more love, more peace, more nurturing. And we ask you to allow us to be able to express that, live that, and appreciate that. We also ask you to just heal our bodies or our minds or spirits or emotions from anything that might be stressing us, ailing us, defeating us, depressing us. We ask you to help us release that and to absorb the things that will make us be the best versions of ourselves. We thank you. Amen. All right. Okay. So, masturbation. Okay. Masturbation. So, it's so funny, and I'm going to take this back. Okay. I'm not even going to start with masturbation now. Let's go way back. Like when you're 10, some, and this is men or women, okay? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Usually by the time you've reached 14, you have discovered masturbation. And if you haven't, then you are definitely not of the norm. And the norm does not mean that you're odd and you're weird and something's wrong with you. It's just that is of the lower percentage versus the others who experience this or live this. Now, I want to talk a little bit personally about myself, because of course that is what I know. When I started to masturbate, I literally didn't even know that it was masturbation. I didn't even know that's what masturbation was. I just knew that one day I rubbed up against something and it felt good. And so before I'd go to bathe or something, because of how my bathroom was, there was like this edge that I could put my pillow upon the edge and I could just like thrust against it. And I would get this feeling of euphoria and excitement, and there was nothing else that I could compare. I had never experienced anything like that. Winning, a gold medal, getting an A on a test, anything that would make you happy or excited at the end of the day was nothing like this feeling that I got when I masturbated, not knowing it was masturbation. It wasn't years until I really realized when, you feel comfortable enough to talk to your friends or whatever about, you have maybe one or two girlfriends the most that you can talk to about these things. It wasn't until then that I realized that that's what it was. So imagine for others, for people in general, how they have been exposed to masturbation and how that now affects their sexual life with their partner or with a partner. Because it makes a difference. What you are exposed to, how you are exposed to it, makes a difference in your comfortability sexually. May it be that you're overly sexual, may it be that you're not sexual enough, whatever the case is. So that's why you'll find some women who, for example, and this is just an example, women who have been molested or women that have been raped. They go to two extremes. They either pull themselves back, they become recluse, and what they do is they don't want to be touched because it becomes like post-traumatic stress disorder. You touch them, they go back, they relive that same trauma that they feel like they lived. They're like literally reliving it again, even though all you did was brush against their skin. Or you have the others that, because they were broken in such a manner, they have become numb. And so they are looking for that. So they are going to constantly have this sexual need and desire, even though it's not fulfilling them the real way sex should fulfill you. But it is something now that they're just going to go to, and they're just going to they're going to think that it's the having sex and feeling like someone loves you through the sex that is where their trauma is held. So for all of us, no matter how traumatic or how not traumatic our first sexual experiences are, may it be masturbation, may it be touching, foreplay, the actual penetration of sex, depending on those things, is also going to make you know how it is that you respond and you react to actual sex or lovemaking or fucking or whatever word it is that you want to use. So sometimes we ignore that. We don't think about that. We don't think about the triggers. For some men, they like when when the man will say certain things to them, you are my pussy that. Give me my pussy. For some women, that turns them on, that makes them wet, that makes their vagina clench and release, right? But for some other women, it makes them clench and stay clenched. It makes them more uncomfortable. And it is because of the experience that they have been through. Maybe their man, maybe a random person, maybe a close friend, who knows, their brother, their uncle, their whoever spoke to her in that manner in a negative state, and so that is how she perceives it, and a fear develops. So in terms of masturbation, is it healthy? Is it normal? Anybody that has listened to me knows that the word normal in itself is like, ugh, right? Because really, what the hell really is normal, you know? But because is normal really healthy? Because most times it's not. The norm is based off of percentage, right? It's not based off of what the better option is or the healthier route is. So masturbation, for definite, hands down, no doubt about it, for masturbation, it is a healthy thing. It's always going to be a healthy thing. When we release, okay, and this can be through anything. This can be through masturbation, this can be through exercise, this can be through sex, this can be all through these things. When we release and we push ourselves an extra mile and all of that circulation is going on, that makes our bodies a lot healthier. Stagnant blood is not healthy. Stagnant anything is not good. So we want to make sure that there's nothing stagnant. And in knowing that, it means that we are going to make sure that the blood is pumping and moving, and we are allowing it to do so. So with orgasming, that definitely helps with circulation. May it be any kind of orgasm that you have. It could be penetrational, clitoral, urethral, anal, no matter what, okay? The circulation is just going to be like pumping away, which is a great thing, which is why the release is important. That's why when you have a bad day or when something happens or whatever, sometimes you want to go to boxing and punch. Sometimes you want to run it out. Sometimes you just want to fuck and you feel better. It is releasing that energy. It's very, very important. So when you find people who are just not having sex and not having that release, not having that, you find that their nervous system is the most damaged than anyone else's nervous system. It is an issue. You gotta release in whichever way you feel comfortable. Because I know some women that they can't bother with the man and the this and the that, and you hear them say, I can't bother get naked for the man and Ray and all kind of manners are evil, and they have their own insecurities as well, and you know, they think about, oh, he's going to be having sex with other people anyway, so blah, blah, blah. And all of that throws them off. You don't need a man. You don't need a man to come. You don't need a man for an orgasm. Most women, if they masturbate, they can masturbate for 10 minutes or less and come. When they're having sex, they're not coming in 10 minutes. And that's because they know their body and they know what they want. Just like a man. A man is going to sit there and he's going to jerk himself off, and he knows how to do it. If he knows he likes the long stroke throughout the whole shaft of the penis, or he only likes it on the head and it has to be extra wet, and the wetness he doesn't want it to be like an oil wetness, maybe he likes it to be a lotion wetness, and so it makes all of the thing better, so that in 5, 6, 8 minutes that nigga came, because he knows his body. So that is one of the reasons why masturbation is important, because you're learning and knowing your body. So now that you know, for the man, like for example, if the head of the penis is where all the sensitivity that you like is, then you're going to talk about that. You're going to express that to your mate, right? For the woman, if you know that when he licks your vagina in a certain type of manner, it makes you feel good, then you're going to talk about it. You need to talk about it. It has to be talked about. No couple is going to continue to have great, amazing, wonderful sex, being married for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if you're not talking about the sex that you're having, or the sex that you like, or what made you feel better, or hey, let's try this. It's not going to work. And please don't get it mistaken. Just because you're doing all of these things, my lady, for your man, for yourself, being all the woman that you can be sexually, doesn't mind that he's not going to want to fuck another woman either. Because he is going to want to. It is a part of his DNA. Am I saying that cheating is okay and cheating is a must and cheating you should deal with? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the want, the craving, it's going to be there. It's animalistic. It's not like us women who need to be emotionally and sexually and spiritually connected to the man so that he can give him the best vagina of him life or whatever. Men aren't like that. Ain't nothing better than pussy is new pussy for men. Sad, but true. It's what it is. So, knowing our bodies, to be able to express to the man what it is that we want, or what it doesn't say, or what you say you want, or what it is that you don't want, is important. And you're not going to know that unless you know your body. Unless you understand your body. You're not going to know that. Not at all. For me, I don't masturbate a lot. I used to masturbate a lot as a child. A lot. And I think the reason why was because I wasn't comfortable with the fact of losing my virginity at 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 18. Like, I mentally, emotionally wasn't, like, I couldn't handle that. For whatever way. Call it immaturity, call it whatever. And so masturbation was what I did. And I didn't need a man for that. And so it allowed me, personally, to not lose my virginity until I was 20. Because I was just masturbating my life away, right? Now, at 37, masturbation is not really something I do. When I become pregnant, like when I'm pregnant, I will masturbate throughout my entire pregnancy. Like, that is, like, I become so... Like, I just want to watch porno and I just want to masturbate. Like, that's what I want to do. But on a normal basis, that is not what I want. That is not me. But you need to figure out what is you. What do you need? What do you need so that your sexual desires can be fulfilled? Why are we walking around the earth feeling that our sexual desires don't really matter? It's more important to have abs, or it's more important to have a Louis Vuitton bag, or it's more important for your nails and your toes to be done and your eyebrows to be done than it is to have great, amazing, wonderful, crazy ass sex. The same sex that at some point all of us want to have. But everybody's afraid to talk about it. But everybody's doing it. How does that make sense? So we have to come out of this. We got to figure out a way. How do we do this? And the first way is to be comfortable with yourself. Comfortable with your own body. Man, woman. I remember, like, back in the day, women like if a little girl would put her hand on her vagina, maybe even to this day, I don't know, right? Like a little girl would put her head, like her hand, like by her vagina and be touching her vagina and all that kind of thing. And there would be some older women that would be like, no, don't let her touch her vagina. Move with her hand. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what do you think that's doing to that child when you move away her hand and tell her don't touch it? What do you mean don't touch it? She born with it. That's hers. If she learns and understands the power of that vagina that she has, her life will be better off than the woman that has no idea the power of her vagina. And the power of it doesn't mean that you're sleeping with Tom, Dick, Harry, Peter, and Paul. It just means that you know. And so there's certain expectations that you have. And so that you are going to deal with no fuckery. Because your pussy good. So for you to now look on a little girl who is not thinking about sex, she's not thinking this is masturbation, she's not thinking I'm trying to be rude, she is just touching her own body the same way she would touch her ear, suck on her thumb, whatever, and it's hers. And that's okay. That's quite okay. Because there's so many women that have trauma from just that. The mommy, the auntie, them grandmother, them whoever say, no, don't touch it, that's not right, slap with them hand, you're too rude. And they grow up with a complex. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. I deal with it on a daily basis. They grow up with a complex of it is wrong. Just like how black people grow up with a complex that we are slaves and we are sinners. It lowers your self-esteem. It has to. It's a negative entity. You can't walk around all day thinking, I was a slave, I came from a slave, I am a sinner, even no matter what I do and the good I do every single day, and I am still this horrible sinner that I have to be. That is so depressing. And that doesn't mean in terms of like picking on religion or anything. I'm just talking about from that negative entity and thinking about that and having that on the forefront of your mind. That only creates negative energy. It doesn't uplift you. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't charge you and motivate you. It makes you feel like shit. It makes me feel like shit. So we have to make sure that we are feeding ourselves positive things. And when it comes to us dealing with these sexual things that we're putting away or we're sweeping under the rug or we're uncomfortable about, it puts us in this other place of stress, worry, sickness, because we are not releasing all that needs to be released. I'm talking to some women and they have sex 3 times a week and they've never had an orgasm in their entire life. She's 35 years old. Never had an orgasm? But you have sex 3 times a week? Why are you having sex 3 times a week if you're not having an orgasm? Because it's your job to have sex with your man? Get the fuck out of here. No. Negative. That's not what it's supposed to be. Sex for you is supposed to be amazing, and sex for him is supposed to be amazing. Hands down. Okay. So moving on. So we talk about a little bit about masturbation in terms of its importance, right? And we need to release. Even if you don't have a partner, you need to still find a way to release because it's healthy for our bodies on a whole. I wanted to talk a little bit about like sex versus lovemaking. And if anybody wants to chime in and have something to say, please feel free, okay? So I find a lot of times that people get this sexting, lovemaking, fucking, whatever that is, kind of distorted. Not understanding that there are so many different ways. And when you have sex with someone, it does not always have to be that way. It should depend on the vibe and the energy and the environment and that type of thing. For women, you're going to find that we do prefer a lot of times more lovemaking, more sensual touch and feeling and that kind of thing. Or that's probably the best way to break us down first, you know what I mean? To make us more feeling like sexy, making us get wet and hot and bothered. But all women can also love the fucking, the sex. It's just that it's not every woman who can just throw up against a wall, lift up her leg, take out your penis, throw it in there, and just get it. Clothes still on, her back against a wall, and just get it. Choking her, not choking her, but you know, like hand around the throat. Like it's not a lot of women that you can just go into sex like that and they're enjoying it. You can do it to any woman, but is she enjoying it? That's a whole nother situation. But there should be times that sex is like that. Sometimes you can be the secretary. Sometimes you can be the hoe. Sometimes you can be the wife. Sometimes you can be the matey. Sometimes you can be... And this is just role playing. This is just enjoying the moment, not making every sexual experience be the same old. Neither one is more important. I think a mixture of all types of sexual experiences are important because it helps you to not be bored, as I said. But for most women, the lovemaking, the sensuality, the light touching, the all of that, the whispering in your ear, you know, whatever, you know, for some women, they want to hear how beautiful and how wonderful and how you know, it's a time. Stroking her ego makes her feel good, just like stroking a man's ego. You tell a man that, oh my God, your penis is hard and it feels good, or it's this, or, you know, the way you're stroking it, I like it, or, you know, it's from long time I see and want fuck you, or, you know, when you stroke that ego, his penis is going to get harder. He's going to get more involved. He's going to get more invested. He's going to throw himself more and try to even be more without even really trying, because he's feeling good. You're stimulating his ego. And sex and ego are kind of connected. Like it is, right? So, lovemaking, wonderful, beautiful, great. Women respond really well to it. And I encourage men to definitely learn how to do that. Learn how to just kiss your woman all over her body. She's lying there. You can blindfold her. You can turn off the light. You can turn on the light. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. And it doesn't have to be kissing her all over her body. Whatever it is that the man decides that he needs to do. You will find that the sex with the woman will become greater, better. She will last longer. It's all going to be more fantastic. No, we don't want to leave out the hard thrusting. That give me that pussy. I mind that. Right, back you up against a wall. Oh, you have me a wait so long feet and you see how long I want it. Whatever it is. Whatever. But sometimes you need to just do that. Sometimes that's what the sex calls for. Just like sometimes you can have sex for an hour. Some people like 2 hour sex, 3 hour sex. I'm really not that girl. I don't know. I don't really know what the point is of having sex for 3 hours. Like, for why? Why? I'm confused in what's going on. That's me personally, right? But sometimes you just want a quickie. Sometimes you just want a 20-minute, yo, let's get this. And that's okay. And sometimes you want an hour, you want more, whatever. And that is also good. I have this love affair with sushi, right? I love sushi. Anybody that know me know sushi. Ugh, I love it. I love everything about it. I actually love that whole Eastern world. A lot of the things that go on there. Not everything, but there are things that like I'm really drawn to. And the sushi is one of them, right? Now, I think about, out of all of the sexual crazy things that I have done or I've been exposed to or I have seen or anything like that, I have this thing about sushi being all over me and my man eating it off of me and vice versa. I don't know how that would work. I guess we'd have to do it on two. I don't know how that would work. But just the thought of that is like, I like that, you know. I'm drawn to that for more than 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons. And that's what we want to do. We want to be able to do different things that can create and continue that spice and that niceness, because there's nothing better than good sex. Good sex is where it's at. And once you've had good sex, it's really, 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 really hard to be in a relationship with someone that the sex is not good. And it's not worth in sitting in the relationship and the sex not good. You're not orgasming, but everything else is good. The man having money, he take care of the children, he's very caring. You know, he this, he that, he all these wonderful things about a man that a woman would want, right? Great, great things that at the end of the day we crave and we need. But the sex is bad. No matter how much it is that you are going to be like, it's okay because I have everything else. You are not okay. You're not okay. So you have to find a way to express that to him. You have to find a way to figure out how he can please you. How is he going to please you? And depending on your man, you can make that shit very basic and very blunt. Or you have to kind of like sugarcoat it and kind of twist it up a little bit so he doesn't realize really what's going on. But whichever way it is, you have to talk to him and let him know. You see men eating vagina, eating some pussy, and they're doing all kind of things, and it's wetty or it's not wet enough, and the woman is not enjoying it, and she's not saying nothing but, yeah, baby, that's how I like it. And that's not how she like it. That bitch is lying. She don't like it. But she's trying to feed your ego, on top of have you hurry up, on top of she doesn't even know any different anyway, or when you're done, she's going to go and masturbate. Because I've been there. I've had sex with men where once they leave, I masturbate. That don't make no sense. How that make sense? Because you didn't please me and pleasure me? And when I'm saying, hey, this is what I like, or this is what I don't like, or oh, you still want to do your own thing? Yo, don't call back my phone. So girls, women, men, don't settle. And when I say don't settle, I mean you must leave the person that is providing every other type of support and love and whatever. I'm just saying, be vocal. Express yourself. Let them know what it is that you like, what it is that you don't like. It is only fair. It's only fair. Because then you can enjoy it and he can enjoy it. I want to talk a little bit about some of the products that Cosmic Woman has for helping with this process, okay? So, of course, as you guys know, we have classes, right? And the classes that we have are, we do classes video, like how we would be, like how you guys can see me, but I'd be able to see you, you'd be able to see me. Kind of like a Skype, kind of FaceTime kind of vibe. We also have one-on-one classes, which is mostly in Jamaica. And we also have group classes as well. Apart from that, and that is all about like learning how to like tone the muscles, vaginal breathing, awakening the vagina, releasing some of the stress and tension in the pelvic area so that you can enjoy sex more. And of course, all of this also helps your reproductive organs. So in terms of like periods and hormonal and that kind of thing, it definitely will help with that also. Apart from those types of things, we actually have physical products that really make a huge difference for women. And one of them, simple ones, to be honest with you, is vaginal steaming. And we call that at Cosmic Woman facials, okay? It's a facial for your vagina. And because of the herbs that we use, it really allows the relaxation of the vagina on top of course, the detoxing and all of that. But it relaxes the vagina to a point where if sex is usually painful in whatever manner, it makes it much better. It makes down there wetter. It makes there warmer. It is more full, and everyone ends up enjoying sex more, male or the female. So definitely recommend vaginal steaming. The other thing that I recommend is, of course, yoni eggs. And yoni eggs is something that I've spoken about many of times. Yoni eggs are crystals or healing stones that are shaped in an egg form, and you insert them in your vagina. You do different exercises with them. Of course, I would teach you or explain or send you information on the type of exercises that you would need to do with them. I find that these things really help. It helps the orgasm. It helps to be able to have sex without it being painful. It helps with your pelvic floor. It helps with toning the muscles of the vagina. It's just a win-win-win situation. And then on top of all of that, because these things are strengthening the pelvic floor and the muscles in the vagina and the cervix and everything, you find that at the end of the day, you're also making your uterus and everything else much healthier as well. So that's really something to really think about, to make better. So those are the two main products in terms of female products that I would recommend in terms of if sex is painful. Okay. Now in terms of for men, I don't think they necessarily have a painful issue unless there's some like skin is too tight kind of thing, which definitely I cannot help with. But in terms of getting the erection that they're looking for, or maybe the hardness, maybe the getting it up in general, we definitely have things for that. We have something called Stamina XL, which is a pill that's really great. It really helps with that. Of course, everything is natural, so it's not going to it doesn't necessarily work on everybody, where it's like the first time I use it, it's like, yeah, right. For some, it takes maybe like 2 days or 3 days or something like that before it starts to kick in. It just really depends. Everyone is different. But there's definitely a huge difference because it helps a lot with blood flow, and it allows the blood to flow more, which of course is going to help with the erection itself. If we're talking about things like sperm count and that type of thing, we also have those things for men as well. We have red maca, we have male vitamins, we have a bunch of different things as well. So there are products that can help male or females to have better sex in terms of libido, because I find that that's really a huge issue with women, especially by the time they get to about 29, 30, their libido drops, and that is a problem. That is definitely a hormonal issue. And so we have been doing a lot more things with women for their libido, because libido needs to be up, unless you're going to feel like it's a job and a duty to be having sex every time you do. So we're trying to raise that libido. And of course, in raising it, we do things where you orally swallow or take something, but we also have to do that from here. Right? We also have to do that from there, and sometimes from here too. It's important. So we have to sometimes do a little bit of healing, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Okay. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions. I have someone here on Instagram that wants to come on. I'm not sure if they're still on. They could have requested that a long time ago. But I'm going to try and see. Okay, maybe not. Anybody have any questions at all? Yes, so someone was talking about the fact that the ego of the man makes them think, yes, that, they know what you want and they are going to give it to you. And of course, that's because we're not talking a lot of times too, and I find that Jamaican men mostly, they definitely think that they know how to have sex. And you can know how to have sex with one woman, but another woman, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So it's about knowing. And of course, like I said last week, this is why I want to have the male class, so I can teach the men exactly how to read a vagina, to know what that vagina wants. Because every vagina is different. Not every vagina wants to be licked on the clit. And not every vagina wants to be, thrusted fast. And not every vagina, it just depends on the vagina. It depends on the look. It depends on how it's made, the anatomy of it, the shape of it. All of these things matter. And in you being able to see that and say, okay, well, her moan looks like this, so I know she likes this kind of pleasure. And her lips look like that, so I know she likes this kind of pleasure. And her clit looks like this, so I know she likes this type of... When you know those types of things, no matter what the woman is, she will always, and the woman will always be able to say, that man can fuck, or that man is a great lover, or that man really knows how to have sex, or whatever it is that they're saying. And that woman is going to think that, is she one? Is a connection that you and her have. And it's not necessarily about that. It's because that nigga know what to do, because he can read your vagina. And so it's important for men to know. They need to know. They need to know, and women need to be talking. We're not talking, and the men are not listening. So it's time for us to talk, and it's time for the men to listen. It is that time. Okay, so I have one question here that I can see. How do you know when your body needs to detox? Okay, so any kind of lethargic, constipation, insomnia, if you suffer from sinus, if you suffer from high blood pressure, low blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, any of those things whatsoever, you definitely want to detox. for sure. Someone else is asking how about painful ovulation? What do I recommend? Okay, so if you have painful ovulation, you really need to look into that, okay? Because that is not supposed to be painful. I know all about that. I lived that for years. It is not a good look. So if you're having painful ovulations, you need to DM me, okay? You definitely, I would recommend a consultation so that I can look at everything that's going on in the reproductive system. But painful ovulations are not fun. Your ovulation should not be painful, and your period should not be painful. I can understand if you feel a little cramp here and a little cramp there because things are happening, but neither one of them should be painful, rolling over, can't move, belly hurting, have to take medication. So we definitely would want to do things for your ovaries in itself, and also to balance your hormones also. So DM us, and we can try and work out a consultation or something for you so that we can get that done. Yeah, some men don't listen. You're right, they don't. And for those that aren't listening, then that's another thing that you would take that into, take it up into your own hands and do whatever you need to do. But a lot of women aren't talking, and a lot of women, if they're talking, they're either not really saying it, or they're saying it too much to where the man wants to just rebel, instead of probably making him think like it's his own idea. It's funny how that works, but it's just what it is. What do I suggest for diarrhea during periods? Okay, so I don't suggest anything for diarrhea during periods. When you have your period, most women either get more diarrhea, will have diarrhea, will go to the bathroom more, or they will become very constipated. And that's because there's a lot going on with the digestive system. Of course, diarrhea in itself is not a healthy thing, because that shows like dehydration and that type of thing. So I would not... you definitely probably want to do some things with the digestive system. Maybe some nettle, some dandelion, that type of thing. Our womb tea actually has a lot of those things which really, really help. So I find that my clients that would usually be constipated, or the ones that have diarrhea, they don't have either one. They're just going to the bathroom twice a day or whatever, having regular bowel movements that are not hard, not too soft, just kind of the way that they should be. But you definitely want to look into that, because diarrhea does show that there is some dehydration. Maybe drink some more water. You probably do need to detox, because maybe your body is not absorbing the water. If you do usually drink a lot of water, maybe it's the type of water you're drinking also. But usually during your period, something happens. You become more constipated, you become less constipated, you have more pooping, you have less pooping. Something usually happens with the digestive system once the period is going. How to regulate your period? Okay, so every woman is different, but there are certain herbs that really help. Red raspberry can help. Does it regulate the period? It can help, but it's not really the herb for regulation like red maca is. Like red maca is definitely, I think, stronger in terms of regulating the period. Vaginal steaming helps to regulate the period also. Because red clover helps to balance the hormones, the period can become more regular. But if there is an irregularity in the period, you definitely want to get to the root of that problem. If your period is not coming every month, that is a sign that something is wrong. Something is wrong. So we've got to do something about that. Libido. Yes, we were talking about libido and how, and oh, I skipped something, but okay, we'll go back. Libido in the women. It's hormonal. It's so, so, so hormonal. And I would say probably from 30, you get to that place where you don't really feel for the sex as much. There are a few things that help to do that, and I went over this before in another live. If you want to go to our YouTube channel, you will probably find that one. But there are essential oils, there are herbs, even ginger. There are certain things that really help to bring that on, to heighten the libido, and it's very important. Vaginal toning, or yoni toning, or yoni breathing, or yoni exercising, those things also help. There's no one that comes to yoni toning class and doesn't leave horny. You leave and you want to do something. If you have a partner, you're going home to have sex. If you don't have a partner, you're going home to masturbate. It's just what it is. It just gets up there really excited and nice and loose and ready. Worse if you go steam after. Gets you all, ooh. It's great. Alright, guys. So I am going to tune out. I know there are a lot of other questions that are coming on. If you guys just want to DM me and ask whatever questions, please feel free. We also have WhatsApp, of course. We also have email, Facebook inbox, all of that's going on. So please reach out to us. My whole point of having this, doing this, living this, is to bring awareness. So if something touches you, if something reaches you, if something, please allow the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, name it, to bring you to a place of acceptance of that. And then just do what you have to do to be it, to do it, to introduce yourself to it. Okay? It's important. It's important for us to give to ourselves. We know this. We've talked about it a lot tonight. Emotionally, physically, spiritually. How sex and giving to ourselves and expressing ourselves and communication can change a sexual experience. And it's the same thing in life. It's the same exact thing in life. So we have to do it. It's important for our future and our children's future and everything, for us to just be able to do that, so the world can be a better fucking place. Alright, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you are a follower on Cosmic Woman, thanks. Go ahead and follow the Vagina Lady as well. I don't post as much on there, but it's my personal page, and of course I'd love it if you guys could follow that as well. Have a great night. Love and light.